the heart and soul behind every business. Stories. Welcome to Business Story of the Week, hosted by me, Joshua Laurie. From setbacks to comebacks, from tragedies to triumphs, we inspire entrepreneurs through conversations that matter. Witness the magic that turns dreams into reality. Whether it's your career, business, or life, your success is always one story away. This is Business Story of the Week.
Hi, my name's Nathan Chan, CEO founder, and this is the Business Story of the Week.
Fantastic. And that is the man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Nathan Chan, a founder. Ladies and gentlemen, he's our guest for today. And of course, my name is Joshua. I'm your host for today. Every week, every day, every episode, we hit this off with a question. And the question is, what is the secret sauce that turns small ideas into global movements? Well, that is precisely what Nate and the team at Founders specializes in. Founders is a global media and education company founded by Nathan Chan, an aspiring entrepreneur with a fire in his belly, launching Founder back in 2013 with nothing but a laptop and a fistful of dollars. Because Nate was frustrated with the lack of quality, actionable content for entrepreneurs and founders. Fast forward to the present, Founder now connects millions of people every month with some of the most successful living entrepreneurs of our generation. And Nate is going to be sharing his story, his insight and perspective with us today. Nate, thank you for coming on the show. How you doing?
Great, man. Thanks so much for having me, Joshua. Pleasure to be here.
I mean, it's a pleasure. And I'm also quite honored to have you on here. It's quite exciting. I mean, Founder is truly global from where it is today. But Nate, I want to ask the origin stories. Where did the young Nate begin? You said that, does the young Nate always have that fire in his belly? Did the young Nate always know that, this always had this idea, Founder?
No, not at all. I just kind of, as time went on throughout my career, I really kind of stumbled upon this kind of movement of people starting online businesses with no skills or experience whatsoever. And I started to hear stories of friends starting online business. I read the 4 Hour Work Week. This was like 10 years ago. And I was just like, how the hell are these people doing this? And I didn't have a network. And so I created Founder for myself, where I started interviewing people, just finding out how they were starting these online businesses with no skills or experience whatsoever, and these startups and these brands and these companies. And what I found was that these stories were so awesome, I had to share them with the world. And that's how I started Founder Magazine. And I had no skills, no experience, knew nothing about publishing, knew nothing about apps, knew nothing about magazines, knew nothing about business or entrepreneurship even. And I just went for it, man. And I started while I was working in my day job. And then here we are.
Sounds like this is the same journey now that you are, same journey that you've taken. It's the same journey that you're helping also entrepreneurs take on with Founder. And Founder is like a global media and education company for entrepreneurs, but because you found that there was a gap, there was a lack in actionable steps. How do you become an entrepreneur? How do you get that done? So you've taken Founder from like digital magazines to a full-blown media empire. Would you say that the digital magazine was the spark? But if that is the spark, what do you consider was the fuel that kept the fire burning for Founder?
I'd say there's a through line throughout the founder journey, and that's just creating quality content. Whether it's through a magazine, whether it's through a podcast, whether it's through an interview, whether it's through a blog post, whether it's through an email, whether it's through a social media post or social media video or an online course or whatever it is, we're really all about just providing people with super actionable content, super actionable stuff that you can take away, and telling great stories. Because stories is what sticks. Stories is what people remember. And really using that content, trying to kind of demystify the entrepreneurial journey for people. and help them and serve them however we can.
Absolutely. And I think founder now is at a place where, you can, like it said, you are connecting millions of successful living, the best entrepreneurs of our generation. And you talk about actionable content and you talk about stories as well, Nate. And we love stories on this show. It's literally the second name of the show, Business Story. Nate, talk to us about the journey of founding founder, basically. What were the stories that stood out? What were the actionable steps that you feel like you wish you would have taken earlier on when you started Found?
Yeah, so look, there's tons of story.
Yes, it's just a story. So pick a few ones, maybe what's one that stands out.
Yeah, I probably that is probably interesting to you is how I got an interview with Richard Branson, right? So
Wow, that's very, very
you
cool.
can see
Please.
me, you can see behind me
Right there.
next to Richard
Uh,
Branson. And the way that I did that was I had no skills, no experience. The brand was pretty new. And the way that I got an interview with him was one thing that's really, really important for people that write books is they want more press. And what I was able to do was I was able to track down his head of PR. So whenever you want to interview a famous person or speak to a famous person or somebody that's a thought leader, they're generally pretty time poor. So they have people protecting their time and gatekeeping their time.
okay.
So I found his gatekeeper, who was the head of PR of Virgin, and I didn't just email her, I called her on the phone
Okay. Okay.
multiple times. And I remember the third or fourth time she finally picked up. I was in a share house with another buddy of mine, and I had to tell him to be quiet because I was trying to, pitch this interview with Richard Branson. And her name was Daisy, and she picked up, and I said, "Hey, is now a good time to chat? I've sent you an email. I'd love to interview Sir Richard Branson." And she said, "Yes. Sorry, I saw your email. I've been meaning to get back to you. Sorry, I haven't got back to you yet." And then I gave my pitch, and I was nervous. I was stumbling. And I said, "This is now a good time." And she said, "I've got 30 seconds to chat. I'm just on the tube in London." So she was just about to catch the train. And she said, "Look, please understand that Sir Richard gets 20, 30 of these requests every single day. It might take me a while to get back to you, but I promise that I will." And then about a week later, they agreed to do an interview. I played on. I really, was very intentional about the fact that his first business venture was a magazine, and we played on that, and he gracefully said yes. And
Wow.
that one interview, instead of, and that was the front cover story, instead of charging for it, because they say that usually you should charge for your interviews and for these kinds of things, right? You would charge for your best product. I made it free.
Right. There you go.
And I use that to really grow the brand. I use that free magazine edition to really kind of get the brand out there and drive a lot of subscribers, drive a lot of people into our community to really start to build the ecosystem. And I drove that for quite a few years, man. And that was a key piece to growing the Founder brand and building our community.
What do you think was that helped you stand out? Like, what do you think it was that convinced Richard to get you on there? And this is the same factor that allowed you to bring on these generational entrepreneurs and found it?
I think, first of all, there's a lot of strength and power in publishing a magazine. It just has a lot of authority. I then think, secondly, I asked. I think a lot of people just don't ask, and I pitched. And lastly, I made it personal, and I found the right person to speak to. I didn't just send an email. I wasn't lazy, and I was persistent.
That's part of the actionable steps that you were talking about. Nate, now that you've grown founder to what it is today to media empire, you still talk about actionable steps and you still talk about quality content that brings that. How do you gauge that? Or what are your criteria exactly? And what are the common actionable steps that you see is, like the common denominator of all founders?
Look, it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a big question. That's it right there. And I mean, with all the founders and all the entrepreneurs that you've had featured, that you've had interviewed, that's truly it. What would be the common denominator?
Look, I've done probably over, I don't know, maybe closing in, getting close to 1,000+ interviews now. I've interviewed well over 100 billionaires for sure at this point in time. And I'd say there's a few key things. One, all of these super successful entrepreneurs, they haven't done it alone. They've done it with other people. So in order to do it with other people, you have to be able to have an incredible understanding and eye for talent. And being able to attract great talent, be able to attract great people that you want to work with or co-found a company with. You have to be able to be a good judge of character. Now, you might not have to be able to work that out straight away, but all of these super successful founders, they know how to find the right people, lead, inspire, motivate, and recruit. That is absolutely critical, and nobody ever talks about it. Like, businesses are built by people, and it's your job as the founder or like the CEO or a founder of a company to go out and find the best possible people that you can to help you drive your mission and your vision forward. Now, it's not a sexy answer, right? But for whatever reason, these people wouldn't be where they are today without the people around them. The second thing is just an undeniable amount of grit and, you know, the ability to handle stress and pressure and adversity. All of those things, like the amount of stories that these founders that I interview, the amount of adversities, the amount of pressure, the amount of stress, the amount of, I guess, times that it looks like things aren't going to work that they've been through would be tremendous, right? Most people would give up. That is absolutely critical because in every single successful founder's story, there has been insane obstacles
Absolutely.
and they've been able to
Always.
overcome them in some way, shape, or form. And then I'd say the last thing is probably this obsession for learning, right? Because the speed in which a company grows, and at Founder we interview large like founders behind large brands or well-known brands or super successful companies, and so the constraint of a company's growth is usually limited to the CEO and founder. It's the person in charge, right? So if that's true, then what that means is your speed of learning is a direct correlation between the growth of your company. So if you can combine all of those things together, those are, I would say, the common denominators.
I love that.
And there's many more. There's many more, right? But those are some that come to mind that kind of puts it all together for you.
One thing that stands out for me is the second one. It was just basically, like grit and just overcoming all of that because you talked about obstacles, you talked about challenges. One thing that always all business owners and entrepreneurs do is problem solving. I don't think it ever goes away. There's always something to be solved. There's always to be a solution to be thought of, and I think that's really part of being a business owner, being a founder. And I don't think you can solve that without that third factor, which is learning. Coming up with different solutions, different innovations. But I do love that connection aspect, and I think that's very important for all of us. Nate, how do you spot people like that? How do you spot? It's one thing to spot people to work with. It's also another thing to spot the right talent to build your team around. Again, with all the experience that you've had, how do you find people, the right people to work
Yeah. Look, this is a difficult question because it's something that you can never be 100% right on, and that's okay, right? You can't, like, hiring is a very, very difficult thing. Identifying talent is a very, very difficult thing, but there's a few key unique traits that I look for that, more often than not now, it seems to hold true. I think you want to look at somebody's past experiences because past experiences, for the most case, determine the future of like what that could potentially look like. So if I'm looking to hire great people, work with great people, I look what they've done in the past. I look how many times they've been promoted. I look at how long they've stayed with a company. I look at, what I'm learning from them. I look at their curiosity. I look at if they're somebody that's just a good quality person. I look at if it's somebody that I believe I can trust. I like to also now more than ever try before I buy, right? How can we do a test project
It's a
together? How
big
can
thing.
you consult for us? How can you do the thing that you might want to do? These are all the things that you can do to just get a little bit more evidence versus just kind of trying to sleep with somebody on the first date. Like when you're going on a date, you test it out, right? You go on a few dates before you ask that person to be your girlfriend, right? And it's the same kind of thing, right? You look at that person's past relationships if you can. You look at, you know, how like what they've done in their life, right? What's important to them? Are those things important to you? You know, I remember the first ever person that I hired at Founder, we didn't even do a job interview. It was somebody I met at an event. And you know what? It wasn't a bad outcome because he did great work, but in the end,
Right,
it didn't work out,
right.
right? And it's because I wasn't thorough. I didn't go through a good vetting process. So I think when you want to hire and work with great people, first of all, you look at their previous experiences and you see what they've done. How curious are they? Have they been promoted? Is this somebody when you're speaking to them, are you learning from them? And then also you look within yourself. Like, are you somebody that says, like, are you somebody that, you do what you say, what you're going to do, like you do what you're going to say, right? Are you a great leader? Are you somebody that is like people would want to work for? Like winners want to work with other winners. Are you a winner, right? How hungry are you? These are the kinds of things that I think is really, really critical to finding great talent and working with great people and testing it out. I'm a big, big fan of trying before you buy, right? So how can you kind of do a test project with that person? How can you work on a project together and just see how things go? But then also, you have to have a certain level of self-awareness to look at your
There you
strengths and
go.
your weaknesses to make sure that that person is complementing you as well. So there's quite a few pieces of that puzzle. It's like a bit of a Rubik's cube. And unfortunately, it's something that you can only learn with time and experience.
Unfortunately, I was going to say that it's just time, and sometimes it just takes time. It really does. Not sometimes actually, all the time. It's just it's just experience. You're just gonna go through all of that. You can make mistakes, and then. But what I want to highlight, what about what you said was that it's okay. It's okay that sometimes this isn't gonna work out. You're not gonna partner with the right person. You're not gonna get the right team. It allows us to make mistakes, and because you are going to make a lot of mistakes when it comes to entrepreneurship. But more importantly, I love how you said there, who are you? What are your values? And that's quite important to know because then you know the type of people that you want to work with. Nate, with the scaling of Founder, you've scaled a mountain. It's now a media empire, like we talked about. When it comes to scaling Founder, what were the values that you took on with you early on that you still carry with you today, and how did they contribute to the success of Founder?
Once again, businesses are built by people, right? So the way that I've been able to grow Founder at this point in time is through people and leading, right? Learning about leadership, learning about holding people to account, learning about really setting a vision and then the strategy on how we're going to get there. And then kind of mapping that out so it's simple, like focus. simple scales, complex fails, right? Like I used to be a very immature entrepreneur where I had 101 ideas. Now I like just doing a couple of things really, 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 really well, and then not doing 101 things because it's difficult to do everything. Like just because you can doesn't mean that you should. So as I've grown founder, it's come down to like hiring really great people, hiring really great, talented people, and really building a solid group of people that are bought into our mission and vision and our purpose as a brand and a company, but then also me leveling up as a CEO and leader to be able to take the business forward. Now, when it comes to scaling, I can talk through 101 different tactics, but I want to talk about the fundamentals. The fundamentals is you
Please.
grow a company through hiring and rewarding and recognizing great people, and you find those people through the values, which we talked about. So our values at Founder, we have three core values: curious, united, and transformational. So curious, we talked about like, is this person have an obsession with learning, right? How curious are they? People
Yes.
that are curious will find answers to any problem and they will overcome them. Transformational. We're really, really passionate about doing transformational work. And that could not just be the output of our content, it could be internally on our infrastructure or our operations. There's so many different ways you can do transformational work in the workplace, but we really want to do work that we're proud of, that's cool. Like we really want to do cool stuff that's transformational, that'll help people in our community, will help move their business forward. And then the last one is united. We want to work with people that have a sense of, I guess, meaning to each other, right? Like, how can we do transformational work? How can we be curious? But then how can we build relationships that are meaningful? Because if you trust that person, you can move fast, and trust leads to speed. And it's all about speed of execution. So all about quality execution at scale and with speed. And the only way you can get speed is through trust. And the only way you can get trust is through building solid relationships with your team members. So how can you build a high performing team of everyone that trusts each other, that they're curious, and they're doing transformational work that they're proud of? And that's how you scale it. That's what's important to us.
I love that. I love that. And you talked about it, the fundamental aspects of what Founder is founded on and why the secret behind your success, of course. Nate, you're taking this to the stratosphere. You're taking this to the next level, of course. What is the future aspirations for Founder? Where are you seeing this media empire that you built? What are your future plans?
Man, we want to serve more people. We want to continue to grow our Founder Plus membership. We also want to get into different languages. We also want to move into other verticals. Right now, our Founder Plus membership and our coaching program and our mentorship, it's really all about helping people start and grow an e-commerce business. We'd love to get into other verticals, helping other markets, not just in terms of niche or business type, but then also different countries,
Yes.
languages, localization is going to be important. But then fundamentally, dude, just that our vision is to build a global leading brand that supports
Yes.
people. So that's our purpose, right? Our purpose is to help people and contribute to their growth. So in entrepreneurship. So, how can we build a global leading brand that supports people at scale? So yeah, we just got to keep putting out more content, keep building the brand, building the community, and helping people at scale.
Absolutely. And going even more global, if you aren't already global right now, and just being, expanding your reach, expanding that influence, helping a lot more generational entrepreneurial talents. Of course, it's easy to find you guys, founder.com. Nate, where else can we connect with you personally? Where else can we learn more?
Look, I'll start growing my personal brand next year. You can just follow
Hey,
me at Nathan Chan. Also got another account I'm starting to post some content very slowly on Instagram called Mentor. NTOR. Otherwise, just follow the Founder brand, sign up to Founder Plus. We offer a $1 trial. You can sign up founder.com without the E/trial. It's for 14 days. And yeah, we'd love to go on the journey, help you support.
All right, fantastic. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, founder.com is the website. Go sign up for that Founder Plus membership. Nate, it's been an honor. I truly enjoyed the insight, the wisdom. Thank you for coming on the show.
You're welcome, man. Thanks so much for having me.
To all our audience and listeners out there, I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Go check out Nate, go check out Founder, and thank you for watching the episode. We will see you on the next one. Bye.
All right, so here's the thing. We try to get a little bit better every day, but we can't do it without you. So if you like the video, make sure to like and subscribe below. And if you have any comments, just leave them in the space under.